Welcome to The Deep Dive, the podcast of Open Door Church here in Monrovia, California. Whether you're watching or listening, thank you for joining us today.
Have you ever just felt like life is, well, relentless? That feeling of being constantly distracted, maybe a bit confused, sometimes disconnected?
Yeah, or even isolated, burnt out, searching for some kind of peace in all the noise.
Exactly. It's something so many of us grapple with. And that's why today we're doing a deep dive into this really interesting concept, being favored under extreme circumstances.
And it's more than just, getting lucky. It seems to be about finding real stability, real purpose, right when things feel the most unstable.
That's the idea. Our source for this exploration is a worship service transcript. It's from Open Door Church with Pastor Will Hatcher.
And he uses the story of Joseph from the Bible, a really classic narrative, to unpack what this favor actually looks like in practice.
So our mission here is to pull out the core messages, the specific examples, and importantly, some of the warnings from Pastor Hatcher's teaching.
Hopefully giving you some insights into how you might navigate, maybe even thrive during really tough times, finding that unexpected footing.
Okay, so let's jump in. The transcript starts by painting a picture of, well, modern life for many.
Right. That feeling of being scattered, distracted, disconnected. It mentions people feeling isolated, alone, deflated, just plain burnt out. It's quite a relatable starting point.
It really is. But then it pivots quickly to suggest a solution, or at least a refuge. This idea of returning to a spiritual space, like the church service described.
Yeah, as a place to find peace. To be reminded of what he calls the anchor of God's love, a place to refocus, recalibrate.
Get re-energized, reconnected. It emphasizes that this return is always on the table, no matter how far you feel you've wandered off track.
That's a really hopeful message. But then the tone shifts somewhat, doesn't it? It introduces this idea of being under attack.
It does. It frames the struggles not just as everyday difficulties, but as an intensified spiritual opposition, particularly for believers.
And it quotes scripture saying those who live godly will suffer persecutions, even giving the really stark example of Christians being beheaded for their faith.
That's intense. It definitely sets a very serious backdrop for this idea of favor. So how does this sermon suggest people cope with that level of perceived spiritual warfare?
Well, it describes these times as hard, difficult, evil times. Not for the weak at heart, is the phrase used.
Okay, so it's a call to build resilience.
Exactly. Strong faith, spiritual discernment, being open, because there's this warning about a strong deception and illusion where right seems wrong and wrong seems right. The opposition is painted as slick, cunning, crafty.
So be aware, be discerning. Don't just accept things at face value. And this connects to what the sermon calls the last days.
Precisely. These times are marked by love waxing cold, so less genuine compassion, more self-interest, people becoming lovers of their own selves.
Focused on self-gratification, maybe disrespecting authority.
That's the picture painted. And there's a warning against strange voices and strange illusions becoming normalized. It contrasts this with the idea that my sheep know my voice, implying a need to recognize truth amidst distortion.
So the world, according to this perspective, is becoming sort of more corrupted, polluted with sin. A pretty bleak outlook.
It is a challenging perspective, and it makes this central question even more pressing. How does this concept of being favored actually work against that kind of backdrop?
Which brings us squarely to Joseph's story, right? From Genesis 37. That's the key example used.
Absolutely. It's the paradigm case for understanding favor in the midst of extreme difficulty.
Okay, let's unpack that story a bit. We start with Joseph. He's young, just 17, tending flocks. And he brings a bad report about his brothers back to their father, Jacob.
And right away, we see the favoritism. Jacob, or Israel, loved Joseph more, partly because he was born in Jacob's old age. And he gives him that famous coat, the robe.
Which immediately causes problems.
Oh, definitely. The brothers hated him, couldn't even speak kindly to him. It sets up this intense family dynamic right from the start, fueled by jealousy.
And then Joseph has these dreams, which he shares. Maybe not the wisest move looking back.
Probably not. The first dream is about their sheaves of grain bowing down to his sheaf.
And the brothers get it immediately. You think you're going to rule us? Their hatred just intensifies.
And the second dream is even bolder. The sun, moon, and 11 stars bowing to him.
Even his father questions that one. Are your mother and I and your brothers actually going to bow down to you?
Right. Though it does say the brothers were jealous, but Jacob kept the matter in mind, Maybe he sensed something more despite the rebuke.
But the brothers' jealousy, it turns really dark very quickly.
It does. When Jacob sends Joseph to find them later, they see him coming and the plot is hatched instantly. Here comes that dreamer. Let's kill him.
Throw him in a pit, say an animal got him. Then we'll see about his dreams. It's chilling.
Absolutely brutal. And that act of betrayal kicks off Joseph's incredibly long and difficult journey. But the sermon points out that this story, which starts with favoritism, envy, betrayal, it eventually, 13 years later, becomes this amazing story of forgiveness, humility, love, reconciliation, restoration. It shows how favor can play out over the long haul through immense hardship.
Okay, so if Joseph's story is the model, what does this favor actually mean for us today? When we're facing our own extreme circumstances, what's the sermon's takeaway?
Well, a really core message is about God's promises being unwavering, even if you haven't seen it happen yet.
Doesn't mean it's not going to.
Exactly. Doesn't mean God didn't mean what he said. It's a direct counter to that need for instant gratification that makes people want to give up, to throw in the towel.
So it's really a call to endure, to encourage yourself in the Lord, as the text puts it, to hold on to faith, hope, trust.
Right. Because the belief presented is that God cannot lie, is always present, supportive, takes on burdens, fights battles. It challenges you to walk by faith and not by sight.
Because sight can be deceiving. The enemy uses what we see to trick us.
That's the warning. And it powerfully states, doesn't matter how long it takes, God has blessings planned for you. No enemy can change what God has spoken over you. Because there's still a purpose, and you are favored.
But interestingly, this favor isn't just about personal benefit, is it?
No, that's crucial. It's not just for myself. The purpose is framed as helping others see God, showing them a path, enabling them to be used for something great too. It's favor with a purpose beyond the self.
Which leads into some practical lessons drawn from Joseph's life. The first one sounds quite blunt. Don't share everything with everyone.
It ties directly back to Joseph and his brothers. Their jealousy and hate are used as an example of how, sadly, jealousy has taken seat, even within spiritual communities.
And when jealousy and hate combine, that's when plotting can start.
That's the danger highlighted. It explains why sometimes you just can't share your dreams or your excitement. People's hearts are not ready to receive what God has shown you.
The sermon uses some strong terms here, like dream killers, dream snatchers, even dream trafficking.
Yeah, vivid metaphors for how sharing prematurely can lead to your aspirations being shot down or even sort of stolen or misused.
It's a tough reality check. Not everyone is happy for you. The advice seems to be, stand firm in God's affirmation, even if others don't celebrate you. If God be for me, I don't care who don't like it.
And being okay with the fact that people are not going to properly celebrate you, that requires real inner strength, knowing your validation comes from elsewhere.
Okay, lesson 1, discernment in sharing. What's the second lesson?
Lesson 2 is check your connections. This one's fascinating. It argues Joseph's favor wasn't just about him, but who you're connected to.
Referring to his father, Jacob. The love, the coat, that special bond from Jacob and Rachel's relationship.
Exactly. It positions connection as a key element of favor, which then turns into a question for the listener.
Right, check your connection. Is your circle actually supporting you? Are you linked with people who want to see God work in your life? It makes you really think about your relationships.
And it warns specifically against ungodly connections or soul ties relationships that drag you down instead of building you up, keeping you from your potential.
It even mentions graduating from people. That sometimes growth means moving on from certain relationships, especially when God pushes you into uncomfortable new territory.
Yes. The encouragement is to cut the ties that hinder your connection with God or, conversely, connect you with negative influences.
That takes courage. Okay, so discernment in sharing, checking connections.
Yeah.
What's the third lesson?
The third one highlights the, well, almost supernatural element. God's favor will take you places you're not qualified for.
Like Joseph becoming second in command in Egypt.
Precisely. Promoted by Pharaoh, given control of the land. Despite being a foreigner, an ex-prisoner, completely unknown in those circles, it wasn't about his resume.
It was divine appointment.
That's how it's framed. And the pastor extends this, suggesting that the things you've been praying for, even if delayed, won't be forgotten. God will fulfill his promise in his time.
That what you pray for in secret, he'll grant openly. It's a message of hope, that favor transcends human logic and qualifications.
Absolutely. But then comes a really important counterpoint, a reality check almost.
Which is?
That this favor, these blessings, they come with requirements. Accountability is a huge theme here.
Ah, okay. Because the sermon calls out a biggest deception, thinking that being blessed means you can just do anything we want to do.
Exactly. It warns against that kind of spiritual complacency. You can't receive a word from God and then go live a mess.
Meaning you can't expect God's blessings if you're living a life not conducive to holy living.
Right. The pastor says, pretty bluntly, Satan doesn't care about you coming in here singing songs. What you going to do outside. That's what he's concerned about. It's about your life outside the church walls.
So don't be deceived or naive. Don't play with grace, misusing forgiveness as a license to ignore right conduct.
It's a direct hit against hypocrisy. It calls out things like walking in the counsel of the ungodly, gossiping, tearing people down.
And warns the enemy tricks people into thinking knowing God means they can live however they want and still be blessed.
The call is to let all the distractions go, all your own little secret sins. There's even a reminder that negative influences can be right there in church. The devil comes to church, sits next to you. Constant discernment is needed.
So ultimately, favor isn't about your position, your title, your seat in the church.
It's the life that you live. That's the core message, a life of integrity.
And this applies to how faith is presented too. Not letting religion, traditions, titles become obstacles for others.
Yes, a strong warning against those things becoming a stumbling block. When unbelievers approach, they shouldn't be met with titles or positions, but with a simple, authentic question. Do you know Jesus?
An introduction to a life-changing relationship, not religious structures.
Exactly. It's a call for authenticity over appearances, ensuring nothing overshadows the core message. And it wraps up this section with a call for everyone to repent.
A personal reflection.
Yeah, take a reflective look back, recognizing that connection with God is ultimately individual and personal. It's a universal call for self-examination and realignment.
Wow. Okay, we've covered a lot there. From the chaos of life to Joseph's journey, the nature of favor, and the responsibilities that come with it. So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on.
Okay.
If this divine favor really does come with requirements, and the call is to be set apart, think about this. What specific, maybe non-obvious part of your daily life, not just Sunday, but Monday through Saturday, might actually be hindering that favor from fully showing up in your own unique extreme circumstance?
That's a challenging question.
And what's maybe one small concrete step you could take, starting today, to bring that area more into alignment with the kind of life this favor seems to require?
Something definite to reflect on as you go about your week.